Okay. Imagine coming up from a small beginning in a small country town and then going after your dreams in a big city where you're with new people, new lifestyle, and new surroundings to be one of the children's best authors to this day. This author is named Bill Martin Jr. And my name is Brant Muller. The life of Bill Martin Jr. His full name is William Ivan Martin Jr. He was born March 20th, 1916 in Hiawatha, Kansas. He died August 11, 2004 in Commerce, Texas. He was married to Betty Jean Bachman in 1942, and they were married till they divorced in 1978 due to marital issues. He has a daughter named Danielle who lives in California and a son named Gary who died in 1963 from a disease. He was one of 5 brothers and his dad was a paper hanger. He has written more than 300 books in his lifetime. He graduated with a teaching certificate from Emporia State University. He has also taught in Kansas and was an elementary school principal in Chicago before he moved to New York City in 1961. And that's a picture of him when he was a principal back in his school. Martin Jr., he had some struggles. He was a bright student, and he listened closely and repeated what teachers said, but they never noticed that he could not read much more than isolated words and hid that from most of his teachers. So he borrowed $50 from his family so that he could register at Emporia State University, where he started to study books of poetry and knew them by heart so that he tutored himself to become a better reader and taught himself how to read. So today, that's why his books are easy to read for students, so they do not struggle when reading and to make reading more interesting for each individual student. His first ever book was named The Little Squeegee Bug, which was also the story of the Firefly. It was published in 1945, and it was illustrated by his brother Bernard. It first appeared in 1948, 3 years after the book was published, and the story is about finding identity and belonging. The top picture is the first copy that he ever made with his brother Bernard, and then later on, with the 3 years, is the shortened version of it, where it was also depicted by Patrick Corrigan, so that the pictures were more like child-oriented and better to see and easier to look at, and more colorful and not so like different. Like how the first book you can see the bug has like red shoes and a little bit more like quirky, whereas this one's more child-oriented. Looks like better shapes to see. So the 3 books that I chose that he made was Brown Bear, What Do You See? And that was published in 1967. It's about like rhyming and rhythm so that students can learn how to. So it would be like Brown Bear, what do you see? I see a blank looking at me, and then it repeats so on till the end. So that will teach kids how to like rhyme and rhythm in a better pattern sort. The second book is Barn Dance, which was published in 1988. And Barn Dance is more about like children to learn more about like fine motor skills and all that, because Barn Dance is about a bunch of these animals that started to go into this barn, and they started to have like this dance routine, and this child was looking out the window to see what it was, and then he walked in and saw it. And then the last book I chose was Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, which was published in 1988. And it's about alphabet, so his children will learn more about the alphabet in a fun, more interesting way, that where it starts off with A, then it climbs up a tree, then B follows, C then goes. So it started with rhyme and rhythm, which most of his books are about. So here's an excerpt from Barn Dance. In an old farmhouse bathed in the light of a full moon, a young boy creeps to his bedroom window and looks outside. Was that a voice he just heard, or the hooting of an owl? There it is again. Come a little closer, come a little closer. Listen to the night, there's music in the air. Beckoned by the voice, the boy sneaks downstairs, out the door, and walks toward the barn. As he gets closer, he hears the sweet sound of a country fiddler and the rhythmic trumping of dancing feet. But who could possibly be having a barn dance in the middle of the night? And then here's the usage of rhyme and rhythm that Martin uses in most of his books from this. It says, full moon shining, shining big and bright, pushing back the shadows, holding back the night. Not a thing stirring, quite as could be, just the whisper of the leaves on the cottonwood tree. So his impact on children's literature is, what I read is, the importance of reading is that reading aloud to your children is actually a wonderful way of helping children reach their full potential. And it's also a long time tradition that's been going on for years. Reading aloud comes away in which children are more engaged and gain better listening skills and also social skills. What happens during the first few years sets the stage for the rest of a child's life. It is a time when a child's experiences irreversibly affect how the brain develops, for better or worse. The nurturing needs to come from a loving parent or a caregiver and has to happen in the early years to support healthy brain development that forms the foundation for success later at school and in life. With the amount of books Bill Martin Jr. has produced that are for children at the early ages of development, it will also impact the students to become professional readers that do well in school and will also be cared for and nurtured. Here's many of his accomplishments. Bill Martin Jr. in 1961, he worked with Holt, Reinhardt, and Winston, where he developed the literature-based reading program Sounds of Language and the Instant Readers. He was also elected to the Reading Hall of Fame by the International Literary Association for his impact over the years as a children's author for best-selling books such as Brown Bear, What Do You See? And he also has an award named after him from Kansas Reading Association, where it is given to an astounding author that was born and raised in Kansas like he did. So that's the author. Like, if you get a book picture with that on your book, it's mostly from a Kansas author. So he definitely impacted children at a young age to make them become authors, because in order for you to get that emblem, you have to be in Kansas and also like know the background of Bill Martin. And then to get in the Reading Hall of Fame, you definitely have to be one of the best authors. He was elected for that because of how many books he made and how much of those books end up being bestsellers that are still on the top list of the dead. And then also with Bill Martin Jr. is that he didn't know how to read either at a young age. So to teach other kids how to read definitely made an impact on those students to know that not all authors have like a great beginning, and some of them do go through difficulties, and so do we when it comes to academics. And there's my works cited.